Hello everyone, it's Paola, and for today's Vida episode / video, I'm going to talk about book piracy. This is a conversation that pops up on book Twitter every so often. I think it's about like once every 3, maybe 4 months if we're lucky. And every single time people have the same takes. And by people, I mean authors and readers alike. The majority of the people that comment on book piracy lack a lot of nuance. It's always about the generalization of piracy. Another point people bring up is the fact that people don't have access to books and they don't deserve to have access to books regardless of their situation. Like, it doesn't matter where you live, it doesn't matter the amount of money that you make. If you pirate books, you are a bad person. So I found a lot of articles about this particular subject. I found from Goodreader, I found from The Guardian, and I found one that is the one that I'm going to be using to sort of interpret the data and stuff, because this is the one that's the most deconstructed. So I'm just gonna read you a little bit of a summary. The study was conducted online using Nielsen's sample of ebook purchases over the past 6 months. From there, purchasers were asked about their methods of downloading ebooks, and a sample of 595 were identified as having pirated material. So 595 people were found to be pirating books. 66% of book pirates are male and 34% are women. The education bit is a little bit more broken down. 1% of book pirates finished grade school. 10% graduated high school, 17% had some college education, 40% graduated college, and 32% have a postgraduate degree. In terms of ages, 41% of book pirates are between the ages of 18 to 29 years old, 47% are between the ages of 30 to 44, 6% are between the ages of 45 to 54, 4% are between the ages of 55 to 64, and 3% are 65 years old or older. In terms of income, 13% of book pirates make under $30,000 every year. 19% make between $30,000 to $59,000 every year. 36% make $60,000 to $99,000 a year, and 29% make $100,000 every year. Now, here's where it gets really interesting, because most of the conversations that I see on book Twitter are about how people that are not as financially privileged as others pirate books, and that makes up for the majority of the people who pirate books according to book Twitter. But that's actually not true. So it's interesting to see that a lot of book pirates are actually pretty well off and could most likely afford a book or two. Let's continue. Why do people do it? 58% of the book pirates answered that it was convenient / easy. 51% said that they did it because it was free. 38% of book pirates said that it was because ebooks aren't available from online retailers. 33% said that this was how they preferred to acquire the ebooks. Only 17% said that it was because they didn't think they should have to pay. The next chart is all about alternative methods. So what would a book pirate do if they were to not pirate books? 33% said that they would have bought the ebook, meaning they have the means to buy it, they just choose not to. 24% said that they would download the books from anywhere else. 19% said they would have bought the copy, either new or used. 15% said that they would have borrowed from the library or a friend. 8% say they would not have gotten it at all, and 1% answered other. So as you can see, again, the majority of people would find other means to get access to the books, either by buying the ebook, buying the physical copy, borrowing it from a friend, or not getting it at all. The next chart is actually the one that I found the most interesting, and it's about how to deter piracy. So what would make the book pirate stop? 49% say they would be much less likely to pirate books if they thought that their equipment was in danger. 34% said that they would be somewhat less likely to do it, and 18% said that it would make no difference. 47% of book pirates said they would be much less likely to pirate books if they believed they would be caught. 30% would be somewhat less likely, and 23% say they wouldn't do anything different even if they believe they would be caught. 44% said they would be much less likely to pirate books if they believe they'd harm the author. 32% say they would be somewhat less likely, and 24% say they wouldn't care. 37% said they would be much less likely to pirate books if it became too technically difficult. 39% say it would be somewhat less likely, and 24% say that they wouldn't care. 36% of book pirates say they would be much less likely if they knew the site was illegal. 40% would be somewhat less likely, and 25% would not care. This one I found very, very interesting because I don't know how book pirating sites do it, but they really seem to be tricking people into believing that they're not illegal at all. I think the most clear example right now that pops into my head is the Internet Archive. Apparently, they're not a legal library. They just scan books and post them on the internet. But a lot of people, when the authors raised this issue, a lot of people in the comments or in the replies said that they didn't know that the Internet Archive wasn't legal. They were very much under the impression that they were like a universal library, but it isn't. So I don't know how we would be able to raise awareness about these kinds of sites. Ultimately, I think it's up to the publishing industry. Let's move on. 33% of book pirates say they would be much less likely to pirate the book if the book they wanted was available for purchase. 35% said they would be somewhat less likely, and 32% said they would do it anyway. And 32% of book pirates said that they would be much less likely to pirate books if the ebooks were cheaper. 35% of the book pirates said they would be somewhat less likely to do it if these were the case, and 34% said they would do it anyway. So I think this is particularly interesting because you really see that a lot of people, 32%, that's 1/3 of the whole chart, pretty much. And they said that they would buy the ebook if it were cheaper, or that they would be much less likely to pirate a book if the ebook was available for purchase. I don't know how international this study case is, but I definitely do know that sometimes I want to pre-order a book, or sometimes there are deals upon deals upon deals popping up on my Twitter feed, especially concerning romance books that I really want to get, and they're only like $4.99 or maybe $1.99 or maybe even 99 cents, but they're not available in Mexico, and that's incredibly frustrating. That doesn't mean I pirate the books, but for real, I've seen multiple deals on Amazon that I really want to get my hands on. I really wish I would have counted, but let's say they were 10, maybe 15 deals available on book Twitter, or that people that I follow on Twitter share. I have only been able to get my hands on one deal, but it's really frustrating as an international reader. Again, that doesn't mean I will pirate the book. Just I want to put things into perspective. New books are very expensive, and some people live paycheck to paycheck. And I don't think we should punish them or demonize them for wanting to get a little bit of escapism. Do I think it's okay to pirate books? No, but I also don't think that we should demonize people who do it when it's for this specific reason. When people are financially well off and they're just lazy, yeah, we should punish them and we should take action against them. But when it's people who don't have access to these books, I don't understand why everyone is always up in arms against people who are not as financially well off. What I'm saying is that you, the person who is able to buy hard copies, the person who is able to pre-order all the books that you're excited about, the person who buys multiple editions of your favorite books, are more financially well off than people who can only afford to get one book a month, maybe one book a year. And I don't think you're in any position to judge other people because you don't know their life. You don't know how hard it is out there. And you don't know just how much that person would need that book to find a little bit of more hope in this twisted world. Again, I'm not saying that it's the best way to do it. By no means. On the complete contrary, I think there should be ways to get access to these books in a way that's legal and way more accessible than having to pay 17 bucks for every single new book that you want to buy. It's just not possible for other people, especially not for people outside of the USA, especially not for people who are disabled, especially for people who are unemployed, or for teenagers whose parents don't think that reading is a real thing that money should be put into. I just don't think we should be demonizing these people because they just want to read. And I also found in one of the articles that I read that a lot of people who pirate books do it only to authors who are well off. So think maybe you wouldn't pirate a book by Zoraida Cordova, but you would pirate a book by J.K. Rowling. I guess with all of these, my conclusion would be to not demonize poor people or people who live in developing countries who pirate these books. I don't think we should give them a pass. But I also don't think we should be as cruel as I see people on Twitter being. Because people in the third world, people who don't make as much money as others, also deserve to read, also deserve entertainment. And especially now with diversity growing in the publishing industry, I think it's a shame that we are restricting people access to these wonderful stories that help a lot of people feel seen, finally, for the first time in many years, and just cross them off as criminals, when the real criminals are financially well off, have a college education, and have the means to acquire these books. They just choose not to because they're lazy. So please remember these the next time the book piracy conversation pops up. Not everyone does it because they're evil and they don't want to pay the author and they're all financially well off and they just simply choose not to. And they could just enter giveaways and just go to the library, because that's not the case for a lot of people. Libraries are not a thing in a lot of the third world. Online libraries are much less of a thing in a lot of the third world, and giveaways are not always a thing for international readers either. Think about how many giveaways you have entered that say US only. Think about it. Again, I'm not saying that piracy is the answer, but I'm also not saying that book pirates in the third world who are not financially well off should get dragged into these conversations like they're criminals when they're just trying to have a little bit more fun and find a little bit more hope in this world. So that's it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments below what you think about all of the things that I said. I will leave links down below to the studies that I found. And yeah, if you haven't already and you'd like to, go ahead and hit subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.